Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Bardwood Grove.
Hi, I'm Mina.
And today we're doing what we backed in November. And December is fortunately going to be a very light month, which is important because we currently have 25 tabs open for things I considered backing in November. In general, the way I do this is I look at all the games that I wanted to or in some way had an interest in backing, and then we go through it back and forth one at a time, going through all the games and trying to figure out which ones made the cut, which ones I backed or not, and you get to guess and or add or subtract or do whatever it is to want to add to that list. So
how many are we talking here?
How many did I back? Oh, too many. Too many. November was not a good month for shelf control.
Oh.
No, but that's to be fair. Give myself some degree of leeway that doesn't actually exist. But let's pretend I have some leeway. A lot of the games that I backed in November are games that either I played or are games that have some tie to games that I already own in some way, shape, or form.
That's a lot of hints for me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anyways, starting off the bat with
25.
25, that's right. Oh, that's a great idea. We can use dice to count how many you back, so you can actually have a little chart. Right now, I'm back to 0 as of right now. So, 25.
No 0 on these dice.
25. Do you want to know how many I backed?
Sure.
15. 15 of the 25.
That's impressive.
It's not a good month. Going from last month where I managed to have 6 or 7, and then this month is 15. It is not good. And by the way, stick around to the end or just jump to the timestamps if you want to see, as usual, if I could only back 3, which 3 I would have backed, and if I could only back 1, which 1 I would have backed. And starting off from there, we're going to go to the first one, and in general, as usual, this is in alphabetical order, and these are all, I always say this.
I've never noticed that they were in alphabetical order.
These are always in alphabetical order,
that.
And in general, these are all counting Kickstarters and game founds that ended in November. Okay, so it doesn't matter what date it has now or this or that. It has to have an end date in November.
All right, go for it.
So, starting off with Age of Galaxy, a small condensed 4X experience. Age of Galaxy brings you, pocket-sized space civilization. It has a whole bunch of cards, a whole bunch of decks and hands, and trying to find the ships over here. Here you go. It's a little galaxy thing going on. You can have your unique factions, classes, the way you play cards. You're going to have specific cards you utilize and can discard to give you different abilities. It's basically a giant space galactic opera, but in 45 minutes and in a small little box. Dun, dun, dun. You can ask whatever questions you want.
You like small little box games.
I do like small little box games.
I know you do, and it's so cheap.
It's only $36 Canadian. That's barely. That's $2.
That's nothing. Yeah,
that's $2 US.
Yeah, that's nothing. Okay. You backed it.
I did not back it.
Off to such a bad start. Usually I managed to get the first one. Okay, fine.
Shelf control. To be fair, I mean,
24.
I guess I was about to say, to be fair, I consider backing it, but inherently anything that's on this list. Anything that's on this list I inherently did consider backing. Age of Galaxy is one that I was looking at. It's one that I do want to try, and it's one that I do want to get my hands on in some way, shape, or form. But Shelf Control, I already backed, like I said already, this is not a light month. Odds are, if you just say you backed it on every one of these, you're probably going to do pretty decent overall.
I'll eventually get there. Alright.
Yeah, that's Age of Galaxy. And we're going to be going through these a little quicker than we usually do, just because there's 25. And as usual, it's late at night. We just watched Dune, the movie. She really liked it.
I did.
I thought it was very slow moving. Very well done, but very, very slow moving. I probably could have played Age of Galaxy 14 times in that time frame.
Still a good movie.
Anyways, moving on from there, we have Bardwood Grove. Bardwood Grove, it's so adorable from Final Frontier Games. Look at those little meeples. And Bardwood Grove is a game about crafting your song. You're a bard, and it's elements of deck building, and you can be slowly crafting out and playing. You do not have to sing, no. Okay. But you have these cards that are going to be kind of your tune, your symphony, or whatever it is you're playing, and you're building out your song, so you can eventually trigger it and then cash in all the benefits at once as you go through the sequence of building out your farm and your song in Bardwood Grove.
I don't think you backed it.
Why would you think that?
His songs.
Songs? That's compelling. How many games do I have songs in them?
That's very true.
Yeah. But you are right, I did not back this one. Yes. Okay. Bardwood Grove is one of the 10 games I did not back this month. I wanted to back it. Again, I'm going to say about everything. Anything here I wanted to back. At the end of the day, same thing as Age of Galaxy. Shelf control is a factor here. I was backing way too many games that are more compelling than Bardwood Grove, so hard choices had to be made. And Bardwood Grove by Final Frontier Games did not make the cut. Now, this is Final Frontier. You didn't play Merchant's Cove, did you?
I did too.
No, you didn't.
Did too.
No, you didn't.
Did too.
No, you didn't.
I was on a boat. And I had to go to little things that...
Merchants and Marauders?
No. There were little cove parts, and there were islands in the middle, and I had to go get, spices on little token thingies, and I had to go from place to place to place to place to deliver things.
I don't know what she's talking about, but she didn't play Merchant's Cove.
I thought I did.
Nope, you did not play Merchant's Cove. You thinking of Century Eastern Wonders?
No! I had a
You had a boat, and go ahead. Tell me
And
again.
there was water.
Yeah, I hope so. You were on
And
a
there
boat.
were cities, like, around the edge.
Okay, and?
And then I had to collect, like, different things and then deliver them from place to place.
Was it a prototype?
I don't remember.
Do you have anything else you can give me?
It was a boat!
I feel we're going in circles here. There's a different one. You're thinking of the other sea one that was on Kickstarter last time. Did you have a little wooden boat with a sail? I don't know. You did not play Merchant's Cove because there was no that stuff. I'm telling you that much. But Merchant's Cove, it's the same people as Final Frontier Games.
Cool.
Moving on from there to Caral. Caral by Funtails. This is a pyramid experience. As you basically you're building out the pyramids of Caral, the Great Pyramid of Caral. Hey, that's Jesse. Look at that little duck over there. But this is a game where you're going to be wandering around the central board. You slowly move in and around, and you take actions as you go. So you're going to be moving your person, taking action to the spot. You can move forward or backwards. But there's this grand architect who's kind of setting the pace and moving and closing the action spaces around you. So eventually the amount of decisions you have keeps condensing smaller and smaller. You have decks of cards you're going to be trying to utilize for extra actions and things. You're going to be building up pyramids in various spots, and once you get to the center, you have a grand ceremony, and you can cash in a bunch of cards for points, stuff like that.
I'm very torn.
I hear you.
Literally go in either direction.
Well, it's actually fun that you say that, because in this game, you could go in either direction. You can move guys forward, you can move them backwards, you can take actions in either direction. Exactly.
You did not back it?
I did not back this one. Caral is fun. Caral is a good game. This is fun by Funtails GmbH or something like that, but whatever it is. Caral is modular. It has a lot of modules to modify the difficulty of the game. Overall, it's a game I enjoyed, but not one that was worth it to me to pay the fairly high price for the game. I mean, the price came in at roughly €85 for the deluxe game, and I wouldn't get the game if it were not the deluxe in this particular instance, because I'd wait for retail at that point. And so for me, the experience I had did not meet the price. Sorry about that. The experience I had did not meet the price tag for the game. It is a light, enjoyable experience, but light is the key word. Lots of modules to modify the difficulty, but even with all the modules thrown in, and granted, Prototype is one that I did play, by the way, but even with all the modules thrown in, it still found itself on the lighter side of things, and one that I wasn't willing to pay that price tag to get my hands on. So Coral's good, but happy I played it, happy I enjoyed it, but not one I'm eager to back at the moment.
Alrighty.
Next up on the list, you're doing, what do you have? You have 2 right so far?
See?
You have 2 for,
Two,
oh, good job.
1,
good job.
and we've done 3 games.
Yes, moving on to Dandelions and Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. I was so excited to talk about this game because I just wanted to tell you the title of that game and then have you have that complete reaction there. I was just waiting for that. Again, Dandelions, that's one game, okay?
Yeah.
And Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. That's the other game.
Is there a shorter name?
Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. No, there's not.
Okay.
Yes, this is from Board Game Tables.
Oh, I like board game tables.
Yes, you do. I knew you were going to have that reaction.
Yay.
Dandelions, as you might notice, falls into the smaller box category, similar to the other 3 we have, GPS, Sequoia, and Mountain Goats.
Yes.
And Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town does not fall into the smaller box category, as evidenced by the larger box over there.
The one we had with the ants. It's like that size.
I wonder if it is. Looking at the boxes,
This looks really cute.
I can hear that being the case. Well, Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. The idea is you have one person who's you're trying to deliver pizza to these ghosts, but you're psychics.
You know what? I didn't guess that
You're
at
psychics.
all.
So one player, the mayor or something like that, is directing traffic, so to speak. I have to give you like clues as to what's going on as you wander around, bump around into things, and
It's like Magic Maze. You clearly backed this game.
hasn't. Did I back it or not?
Yes.
I did back it.
Ah.
Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town. First of all, you can't not appreciate a name like that. Secondly, I think it's a game I'd really enjoy playing with the kids.
I was going to say it's like Magic Maze.
It's not necessarily a kids game, but it's a game, Magic Maze. I'm not sure. It's a little bit like Magic Maze. Not really, but
Giving directions to get from one place to the other.
Magic Maze is more you just not being able to communicate or talk to each other.
Yes, I know.
But either way, this is one where, here, let's see if we can scroll onto the board over here. This is the board, so one player sees everything that's going on, and the other players you're trying to direct everyone to go the right. It's a pizza box-ish. And then Dandelions is a different game entirely, where you can be rolling dice and just bouncing around from area to area. I don't remember the exact rules of how it works.
It has dice, and I cross out things.
It has dice and you cross out things. That seems about right.
Yep.
But those are overall 2 games. Board Game Tables in general, their games are always well produced. Some of them have been hits with us and stuck around. Others have not. But I do tend to give them a try because they are compelling, light, and fun in accessible ways. And I'm very, very curious on whether Psychic Pizza Deliverers Go to the Ghost Town is one that stays in our collection or not. I just love that title. It's completely ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. In any case,
next
4,000 backers. The fact that Board Game Tables can get 4,000 backers with a name like that and a game like that is just a testament to the audience that they have built up, because that is just ridiculous. Anyways, moving on to the next one, we have Float from the Deep.
Like Cthulhu.
This is, I mean, it's got Cthulhu as a background genre going on here. This is from Bright Light Media, and this is a sort. It's not really a cooperative game. You're basically on this ship, and you're floating, you're shipwrecked, or on a lifeboat, or whatever it is, trying to survive. But it's not trying to survive together. It's the last man standing wins, as things happen to you in the ocean, and you try to slowly, desperately stay alive. 2 to 5 players, 30 minutes, and just dealing with the depths of the ocean and all the bad things that will happen to you, and trying to outlast your enemies. Your enemies. Allies, trying to outlast your allies. Frenemies, exactly.
I like the dice.
The dice are nice.
You didn't back it.
No, I did not. You're doing fairly decently, despite that first miss. Shh. Never mind. I didn't say anything. Yeah, Float is one that, again, like many of these, compelled me. The idea of it is interesting. No there's no zeros. What do you need? You trying to go down? Just go like that. There you go. Okay. There you go. Or just that. Cover
There's also no 9 or 8 or 7.
You haven't thought this out fully. Anyways, Float is one that was compelling, but not compelling enough. I didn't know if this one would hit the table as often. Also, price point wise, I wasn't sure if Kickstarter was the right place to get it versus trying to pick it up in the aftermarket or potentially retail. I was interested, but like I said already, despite the few that I have not backed so far, the 15 of these are backed, and I had to cut whatever I could afford to. Next up, we have For Glory Champions expansion.
Yes.
Go ahead, mark your die.
Thank you.
Okay. For Glory, for context, the reason she was that fast is because she knows full well that if I hadn't backed it, she'd kill me or murder me or something along those lines. But For Glory is a game that it's a deck builder with 3 different markets, and you're trying to basically you're trying to sponsor or gather gladiators. You have an economic market, you have a gladiator market, then you have like a tactics market with all these abilities and things you can play in combat. The game is a lot of fun as you build up your gladiators and try to outlast each other until someone gets 6 glory points, whatever it is. The Champions expansion adds a few things. It adds solo play, which isn't really relevant to Arena. It adds 3 to 4 players, which isn't necessarily relevant to Arena. It's potentially relevant, but not as relevant. But then it adds a champion that you can level up. So there's a single champion that you can play it, or you can cycle it to level it up. So you have the singular champion in your deck that gets leveled up. It adds more cards in general of other things that does stuff. It adds a mechanic of, I can't remember what it's called, there's a mechanic that basically gives a form of protection to your gladiators, where these tokens you can place down, and the first time you take any damage, whether it's 1 or 7, you ignore it. So fun little mechanics being added to the game. But again, overall, it's an expansion to a game we already enjoy. That is For Glory Champions expansion and For Glory second printing. It's late, I know. Next up, we have Gartenbau by Chad Elkins by 25th Century Games. Gartenbau is it's a flower game. It's a flower game with a bit of a rondel. You can be moving around the rondel trying to gather the tiles. You can be using tiles to create these constructs in your garden that you can then overlay other tiles on top of. You'll have point scoring tiles and you'll have ability tiles. So a little bit of both in terms of the depth or the complexity of the game as you build it out. And it's basically, I'm trying to remember what games you've played that are similar to this.
Where you overlay tiles on things?
Yeah.
So
it's a little similar to the, what's it called game? The
played it.
The Carnival, the Grand Carnival. It's got a little bit of that.
No, I didn't play that.
You did play that one.
I did?
Yes, that's like the Barron Park one where you build
I did play that.
There you go.
There it is.
It's a little similar to the Grand Carnival, but there's other games as well that have that mechanic where you kind of have to build the foundation and then build on top of the foundation. But that's basically what Gartenbau is.
It.
I did not back this one. So close. Go ahead, bump this one up.
You said something.
I know. But go ahead. We're going to move that to a 2.
And then now this is at 19.
Okay, so that is basically Gartenbau. And again, I was compelled by the game, inherently. That's why it's on this list. At the same time, for me, the artwork really didn't pull me in. I believe this is Beth Sobel.
I really like the artwork.
Is it Beth Sobel? I'm not sure. I think it's Beth Sobel. I can't remember. But
I
whoever
like the artwork.
So, I mean, am I sliding this to the end?
No.
But yeah, I was intrigued by this game. I wanted to... visually the game did not pull me in. The gameplay style very much pulled me in. Just, again, the nature of these things is I'm looking for excuses to not back things. So even though I think this may well be a game that I'll enjoy, and I'll happily look to picking it up once it hits retail and all that, for right now I was trying to look for reasons not to back things, and the fact that visually I was not pulled in by the game was enough for me to say, you know what, maybe some point, but not for today. Next up, we have Grove. Grove from Sideroom Games, a solo puzzly adventure of overlaying your own cards. Now, you definitely played games like this before.
We have played this.
You've played, not this one. You've played games like this. You played the game, what's it called? There was
one we just played. Recently.
I can't speak for that. I don't know.
I had flowers.
I can't speak for that. I don't know.
With Ricky.
I can't speak. You need more information than that.
It was a rectangular game. It had 5 rows, and we had to lay flowers on it. And then there were lamps that we had to move down.
Lambs?
Lamps.
Lamps.
Yeah. Black thingies. Just move down like this.
I got nothing. You're being very descriptive, too. I got nothing. It's got rectangular things and lamps?
It was a rectangle.
Yes.
It had 5 rows.
Yes.
And then we had things that we had to move down because you could only put 1 tile per row. And there were tiles out over here that you got to take in turn or order. And then depending on how high the flowers were, depended how many points you got. I'm being incredibly very descriptive.
Very descriptive. Depending on how high the flowers were.
Yeah.
It sounds familiar. But I don't know.
It.
I believe you.
Points to the first person who comments on what
yes,
it is.
whoever gets it, you'll get a thumbs up on that. That's about it. But yeah, Grove is a solo game which you overlay cards trying to slowly build crops of goods. As you build different types of trees on top of each other, bless you, you're going to escalate the die you have to track how many fruits are being in that region. You're trying to go for a bunch of variable goals in the backs of the cards. It's a solo game. It's a little solo puzzle.
I see you backed it for the child.
Which child?
My older one who needs solo games.
Oh, so fun fact. This was on Kickstarter and decisions were made before we had that conversation about Ricky. For instance, our daughter, for context, sometimes she's a huge reader, but sometimes she's like, I'm bored. And then we're like, what about this? And she's like, no. And we're like, what about this? And she's like, no. And we're like, what about this? And she's like, no. And then many of you have children and you're like, I know this concept is familiar to me. so I've been trying to get her into solo games because that would give her another option. She loves games, but I've been trying to get into solo games to see if that is another option. But that was not a factor in whether I did or did not back
You still backed it?
I still backed it.
Okay, there we go.
Grove. Because I like these solo games, and I like cards that overlay each other, and I like that mechanic. And Grove is a reprint of a game called Orchard, or it's a sequel, not a reprint. And so Orchard is already a well-rated game. So combine a publisher that's established, a well-rated game, a solo puzzle, and a small price tag point, and I was intrigued enough to go ahead and jump in on Grove.
See? How many games do we have left?
I don't know. You've been tracking your dice?
No, because I ran it at the 9. There's no 9, 8, or 7.
Then ignore the center column and just track how many you got right and wrong, and then just add the two together, and that's
so
what you know.
8 minus 25.
17 games left to go. Okay, moving on, we have Hanamikoji Geisha's Road. Hanamikoji Geisha's Road is from TBD Games. This is the sequel, or again, spiritual successor, whatever you want to call it, to Hanamikoji. So there's Hanamikoji, which I already have. There's Hanamikoji Geisha's Road. Geisha's Road adds a new element to the Hanamikoji game, but that's basically what's going on here. The basic idea of the game is a I cut, you choose kind of mechanic.
Right, I remember that.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, I don't remember if I played it. I don't remember.
Yeah, we did. It has flowers.
It has flowers. Apparently, all the games have flowers. This adds another element to that game, which from people who've played both of them seem to prefer Hanamikoji Geisha's Road. Not everyone, but most people.
Assuming that you backed it, because I have seen you play this game. I think you still own it.
Is that a yes or no?
Yes.
I backed it. Hanamikoji Geisha's Road is fantastic. Absolutely incredible.
Here
you go. Track it away. Add you another 1 there.
Yep.
We got enough numbers here.
7.
7. Yes, 6 plus 1 is 7. Hanamikoji Geisha's Road, absolutely back this one. Hanamikoji is one of my favorite games. Like, one of my favoriteest games. And Geisha's Road adds more context to the game, more aspects of the game that I definitely want to try. Fun fact, I actually just borrowed from the Hungry Gamer, from William the Hungry Gamer. I actually have a copy of Hanamikoji Geisha's Road on the floor over there so I can try it, but I do have to return it to him. He made that very clear, so I'm glad I backed this one.
Okay, next.
Moving on, we have Honeybuzz.
Yes.
Yes. You could bump that to a 2.
Problem is that I've already had 8. And we haven't gone through that many, which means that I'm going to start getting them wrong.
Honeybuzz Fall Flavors. Like Rena said, yes, because this is the sequel to Honeybuzz. And
does that mean it's going to have more squishies?
It will. I don't know. I think so. I mean, I think these look like squishies, right? These look
Like
squishies. Yeah, it has squishies. It has basically 4 or 5 new modules, including retiring your bees, where you can either like send them off to work one last time or have a goodbye party, which makes me feel like I'm a bad boss if I don't do the goodbye party. But the beeples will figure things out. But again, basically, there's a bunch of modules to Honeybuzz, including changing up the way that center board works. So you're not really exactly. One of the things I never loved about Honeybuzz was that board aspect.
It's the fall fruit module. That means the honey's going to be a different color.
It's the fall fruit module. Now you're trying to gather fruit.
Look what it says.
Squishy fruit! Squishy fruit! That's for the deluxe version of the game, I assume. Although maybe not. No, these are the standard components. The standard components of squishy fruits. So the deluxe version has other things. I don't know.
Nectar tiles.
We have nectar tiles and thicker tiles and acrylic tokens and all these things.
Ooh, go back up.
Foil. What are we doing?
I'm looking at something.
Foil. Oh yeah, these are the foil leaf.
Foil leaf. Do you know what foil leaf is?
Foil leaf just makes it all pretty and shiny as you look at it, and it reflects in the sunlight. It looks all pretty.
Leaf?
What has foil leaf?
My cricket.
Cricket. Oh, Cricket has foil leaf. Yeah, she likes her Cricket. But yeah, that's Honeybuzz Fall Flavors. Basically an expansion to a game we already love. Many things like that on this list, hence why this was an easy back. Next up, we have Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid. This is a 2 to 4 player battle game, a skirmish game where you have this giant miniature. It does not come painted. You'd have to paint it yourself. But it has how much a minute? What?
No time for that.
No time for that. We have 2 to 4 players, 60 to 90 minutes. It's a skirmish game where you have your various teams, your factions. You have engineers. You have these beasts you're hunting down. A whole bunch of things going on. This is from what's the name of the company? This is from. I'm gonna scroll back up again. It's from Corvus Belli. Corvus Belli, we have one of their skirmish games. Have not played it yet, unfortunately. This is the same universe, but different game entirely. But that's Infinity Deathmatch Tag Raid.
This is one of those times where I wish I had like one of those magic 8 balls that I could just like shake it to see it.
I hear you.
I say no.
No, I do not back it. Absolutely wanted to back it. Corvus Belli, though, their games tend to be expensive. They have a very loyal fan base. You're tracking what you got right.
I know.
Okay, gotcha.
So I realized that, so that I don't even know how many of them I got right.
Yeah, I don't know what you're tracking. Either way, this is one that, yeah, they have a fairly fanatical fan base, and they price their games fairly high based on the fact that their miniatures are higher quality miniatures. This is a game where it's focusing half on the miniature production and half on the game itself. That just also means that the giant worm. Hey, we just watched Dune. There's a giant worm. Anyways, yeah, so it looks cool. The miniatures look cool. The game looks cool. I'm confident it'll be a good game. But as far as price point to the other games on the shelf that I have not still played, they price themselves out of where I feel like I'm like, it's a good game. I will pass on it because I already backed 15 of these games. Next up, we have Kinghill. Kinghill from Peter Merrick. This is a first-time creator. This is a 2-player. Here we go. Okay, this is a 2-player worker placement game. It's a 2-player worker placement with variable workers. If we scroll down to over here, where are we? Where's the board?
There's a dragon.
There's a dragon. There's a board over here. You basically have these workers. You place it on the board. You can upgrade your workers into customized workers that then give you special things that they can do. You can place your workers to earn resources. You can place your workers to earn cards. Ultimately, you're trying to defend your castle and tear down your opponent's castle, which means eventually you have to be factoring in getting in all these cards to add to your row so you can take fight actions to conquer your opponent's castle. It's worker placement, a little bit of tower attacking, castle attacking, defending, lots of powers and abilities, but 2-player only.
I think you backed it.
I did back it. Why did you guess that way?
Because it's very pretty and it has dragons.
Okay.
And it's a worker placement, and you know I like worker placement.
And I played it, that's why.
Oh, I didn't know
Yes,
that.
I actually
I cannot keep track.
No, I didn't expect you to, but I did specifically scroll very quickly past this over here. Yep.
First of all, I'm happy that you think that my eyesight is still there.
No, I scrolled very quickly. I was like over here. I was like saw my quote. I was like, yeah, there we go. I just scrolled past it because I don't want you to see the testimonial. Yeah, but yeah, I really enjoyed Kinghill. It was a solid game. Oh, 1 to 2 player. I didn't even realize it was 1 to 2 player. It was a solo mode. Better. Cool. I'm not gonna play the solo. I'm gonna play this as a 2-player only experience. The only complaint I really had was it could run a little long for a 2-player game, but I really enjoyed this one. This is Kinghill, Peter Merrick. Solid game. Next up, we have a GameFound campaign. We have, what is this? Lords of Ragnarok from Awakened Realms.
I'm assuming you backed it.
Do you have any other information, or that's it?
That's all I need.
That's all you... What? That's obnoxious.
Was it right?
I don't back everything from Awakened Realms, he says
right?
awkwardly. Yeah, I did. Have I not backed... Is there anything I haven't backed from Awakened Realms? So I didn't back the Edge Dawnfall. I didn't back this War of Mine.
It's a theme that I like, and it's from Awakened Realms, so like...
There are some other games. I do back most Awakened Realms games. This is true. I didn't back like 2 Awakened Realms games. I feel like there's another one I didn't back. What am I missing? There's another Awakened Realms game I didn't back. Either way, Lords of Ragnarok joins the many Awakened Realms games that I have backed. It does help that I've played this one.
You did?
Yeah. Played this one with Jesse Shira, with the regular game group as well. Yeah. This is, I
can't keep track of it.
I didn't play it with you. This is not your... You don't play Area Control.
I know.
Yeah, we should get you more into Area Control. But
I have played.
Either way.
Domain is Area Control.
Domain is Area Control. I hear that. I got rid of Domain. Yes. Anyways, this is Lords of Ragnarok, Awakened Realms. This is the spiritual successor to Lords of Hellas. And this changes
That one I do know.
Yeah. How do you know that one?
I don't know.
This changes up the gameplay in a lot of ways. My screen's like scrolling very slowly right now. It's got a little jerking movement to it. But yeah, it changed up the gameplay while keeping the core elements. So it still has the multiple win conditions. It still has the general sequencing of battles, of how they work, of monster fights. It keeps most of the same building blocks while having a completely different end result, so to speak. You bake, you cook. You understand how you can have the same like recipe ingredients and still have totally different results.
Yes, you eat the results
Exactly.
by baking.
Exactly. So that's the idea over there. But this is a really solid game, really enjoyable. I still go back and forth on whether I prefer this to Lords of Hellas. The pacing of Lords of Hellas, I think where I end up with this one is I prefer the core gameplay of Lords of Ragnarok to Lords of Hellas, but Lords of Hellas feels more different than other games in my collection, versus Lords of Ragnarok feels a bit more similar to games like Kemet or Blood Rage or whatnot. So I still don't know which one ultimately ends up staying in my collection, the one that feels more unique or the one that I slightly prefer. So that's the tricky part overall, but either way, I definitely did back this one. And then, did you mark your die?
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're on to Marvel Dice Stone.
Oh.
I don't know. You tell me.
Duh.
Well, I mean, I could have said no, and then just made you back it now.
That'd be very awkward for you.
It wouldn't be that big a deal, because I knew this is one that easily... So I like Marvel Dice Stone. I like Dice Stone in general.
You did back it.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did. I like Marvel Dice Stone. I like Dice Stone in general. I like the Marvel IP. I like Marvel IP being thrown into board games I like. Those are all good things. But overall, Dice Stone is a game that I very much enjoy but do not love. It's a game that I'm happy to play with anyone, but won't always be suggesting it. I find it... Scroll? You want to see more people?
No, the switching was a little much.
Yeah, so this is one that's an easy one to back, though, because at the very least I know that Rena wants it, and I know that Rena wants to play it. Here we have Scarlet Witch, we have Thor over here, we have Loki, we have Black Widow over here, we have Doctor Strange. Loki's coming. There we go. There's Loki.
There we go.
Loki with his little illusions to make him harder to attack. Whenever you attack him, you can play...
When is it coming?
When's it coming? I don't know.
Okay.
It says June 2022.
Oh,
but this is
right,
Kickstarter. This is Kickstarter, so maybe it is, maybe it
me.
isn't. We have Captain Marvel, which we played, and Black Panther, which we played. Both of which apparently are the two least complex characters in the whole Marvel Dice Stone set. So I'm a little disappointed that those are the ones we got, but I'm still excited for this one.
Cool.
Yeah, that's Marvel Dice Stone. I'm sure there'll be a subsequent Marvel Dice Stone. I cannot imagine they would stop here because there's so many more Marvel stuff you can do in the Marvel Universe. Maybe they'll do a Marvel Dice Stone Adventures. I don't know. Either way, we shall see. Moving on to, what's this? Monsterpocalypse from Mythic Games. Dun, 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 dun.
Are you going to give me any information at all?
Sorry, my bad. Monsterpocalypse. Giant miniatures, giant monsters roaming around a city. What are you looking at?
I'm destroying it?
Giant monsters roaming around a city and destroying it. You are? What?
I'm amused.
What are you amused by? They're just monsters and aliens ripping apart a city from the core. Throwing monsters at buildings. I mean, that's what you do in this game. You literally, there are all these monster attacks where you pick up monsters, you whip them at buildings, you pick up machines, whip them at monsters, you just charge it through a whole pathway into buildings. You're literally just tearing down the city around you while hopefully taking out the opponent's monsters. Combine that with like a million other monsters and expansions and stuff and buildings. The buildings have various abilities you can utilize. The monsters have abilities you utilize. The combination of the entire engine of how you utilize your small units, because on your turn you can use your big monsters or your small little supporting units. You can go back and forth, and you can have sets of teams-based matches. What are you looking at me for?
You're just very, very passionate right now.
That's Monsterpocalypse.
I really don't know.
I hear you.
I have such a good streak.
I hear you.
I'm going to say no.
I backed it.
Oh, man. So close.
This is Monster Madness. And now, to be fair, I like Dice Stone. I'm actually very on the fence with this one. Meaning Dice Stone and Monsterpocalypse both gave me lighter gameplay with like production values to the nines. But what makes it easier, first of all, it's a Mythic Games production, which in general means it'll hold this value. In general, Mythic Games, when I'm on the fence on a Mythic Games game, I usually will back it because of the fact that it'll hold this value. So if it's not for me, it's not the end of the world. I can always turn around and sell it down the road. But if it is for me, then I have gorgeous over-the-top miniatures. Plus, I mean, can you imagine the kids with these? Can you imagine the kids with all these monsters over here?
Yes, and I can also imagine wrapping me like...
Yeah.
Bing.
Yeah, he's going to whip them across the building and break it, and maybe it won't hold its value in that case. But this is one where I really enjoyed my plays of it. I want to dive back into it with even more content, more stuff for the game, because all I got to experience was the core like base pledge or whatever, and there's a whole bunch of monster modes, including a cooperative mode as well, or cooperative/solo mode. So overall, very intrigued, very compelled, not 100% sold, but it's sold enough that I was willing to back it and jump in on it. Moving on, we have Monsdrawcity, Unusual Suspects.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute.
Yeah.
Do you draw it?
So Monsdrawcity involves a person, a main someone who's like your eyewitness. That's what this game is.
This is adorable.
It's an eyewitness game. So I like saw something. So I get like 15 seconds to look at a card. Like I get handed one of these cards. Right, I have one of these illustrations over here, and I have 15 seconds to look at it. Then I have to turn around and describe it to people to draw it. Like as if I saw someone, like, oh yes, I saw this tentacled monster, and he had like he had some wings on his back, and he had like these like jaws, these mandrills like floating down.
I believe you wanted to back it, but you didn't.
I wanted to back it because it's here, but I didn't because why?
Because we don't have a lot of time to play drawing games like this.
So, partially. So there's two reasons I didn't back this one. The first is that, at the end of the day, party games that involve drawing, we have a lot of those as it is, and they don't all hit the table.
I was right?
Yes, you were right. So even though I'm compelled by them, there's so many there's so many good drawing games out there some of them we played and we enjoy, some of which we haven't. But like, if I'm sitting here thinking, do I want to play Monsdrawcity or do I want to dive down to another game of Decrypto? I mean, I'm probably going to go for Decrypto.
I know.
And so that's the first reason why I didn't back it. The second is because this game is readily available cheaply on Amazon. If you want to get everything, if you want to be a completionist, Kickstarter is likely the best way. But I didn't need to be a completionist because we're probably not playing it enough anyways, so I could always pick it up fairly cheaply down the road. So there's no FOMO really going on here. I'm compelled, I'm intrigued by it, I'm dropping dice to make loud noises, but I did not back it.
Silicon dice.
Next up, we have Paint the Roses.
Oh, you backed this one.
Yes, I did.
Yes,
Go ahead.
you did.
Ping your die.
I know.
Paint the Roses, a cooperative puzzle game in Wonderland. And I'm not certain that this is one that stays in my collection long term. And part of that is because the people around me all enjoyed it, but I seem to have been the one who enjoyed it most in my game group and family. Ricky did not like it. You did not like it. The rest of my game group was like, that's fine. But I really like Paint the Roses. It's pity it doesn't have a good solo mode. Maybe they added a solo mode in the campaign, I don't know, but if they did, I want a solo mode, because I really enjoyed the introduction of Paint the Roses. It joins games like Pachamama, Search for Planet X, and others and 2 to 5 here, but sometimes they add solos in the Kickstarter or not. But yeah, it joins Pachamama, joins Search for Planet X, joins a whole bunch of other deduction games that I really enjoy. The production quality is off the charts. I think the modules are essential, those extra key modules with all the various ways to earn keys, because it really mixes up the experience. I really enjoyed it. Don't know if it'll get played enough to justify keeping it long term, but I really like Paint the Roses, and so this was an easy back for me. Moving on, we have Power Plants, KTBG Games.
I feel like I played this.
Did you? I don't even know if you played this one. Did I play this with you or not? I don't even know if I played this with you. Power
Plants.
Plants.
You played this with the kids. You did. You played this with the children.
I played this. Yes. I don't know if you played it.
I did not play it. I just recall because you played the kids.
Power Plants is a game of, well, building up plants. You're basically mages in a... Are you guessing?
Yes.
I backed it. I backed it. Power Plants is a game of basically your mages trying to fight for control over the magical garden where all the sprites live. And you have different modules you'll be playing with every single game, so you're not playing with all the plants. Each of them comes with different abilities, and then the Kickstarter introduced a whole bunch of more abilities, double-sided cards, more plants, more everything. Just like, I think it's like 20 different abilities by the time all said's done. You only ever play, like, I think with 5 per game, so tons of variability as far as the experience itself. The game, though, is basically intro to area control, as you try to put sprites onto your patches, try to gain control, get points in-game from abilities, get points end-game from controlling patches. It's basically just area control with a bit of madness of utilizing the patches for their abilities, either their plant abilities, or their sprout abilities, or their grow abilities. Lots of variability to the general experience, and the Kickstarter stuff, like, the Kickstarter stuff seemed like an easy, like, if I was going to get this at all, it has to be on Kickstarter, because the difference in production quality, like, you have 64 wooden patch tiles as opposed to thin one otherwise, and you're drawing them from a bag. I don't mind the difference between tiles and wooden things, but when you're drawing something from a bag, I mean, you've played Quacks of Quedlinburg.
I do. Drawing
nice, thick, chunky pieces from a bag versus the thin little tiles.
True story.
It's not the same experience at all. But overall, that is Power Plants from KDBG, and this is another one that we picked up on Kickstarter. Moving on, we have Resident Evil, the board game. Resident Evil the board game. This is a game, it's based on the video game, and the Resident Evil the board game has you fighting off as the heroes from Raccoon City or whoever they are, and you're basically trying to survive as you outpace the various zombies. What makes this game stand out, what makes it different, is the fact that zombies are a threat. You have to be very, very careful. You have limited ammo. Every time you shoot with your gun, you will be running out of ammunition, which means you need to conserve your ammunition, shoot the zombies, try to kill them, but also understand that you might miss and you do not have enough ammunition to survive. So pick your battles carefully, wander around the map, close doors behind you, because when you close doors behind...
No, there's no doors.
There's doors.
No doors.
Why not doors?
I don't like doors.
Why do you like doors?
They're annoying.
This is how you survive in this game. You need the doors.
No doors.
You close the doors behind the zombie. The zombie doesn't chase you because the door's in the way and he doesn't know what to do. That's this game.
You backed it.
I backed it. Resident Evil is absolutely... Resident Evil is a surprise hit for me. This is definitely a surprise because... Not that I always thought I'd enjoy it, but Resident Evil is a game that I wrote off. I wrote it off as being, oh, Steamforged Games is putting out like a Zombicide knockoff, like another game in that genre that doesn't necessarily stand out. Now, I like Steamforged Games, I do, but I just... the combination of an IP game... and the general theme and whatnot, I just wasn't compelled enough to think this would stand out. But it absolutely does stand out. It is incredibly tense. I really love the feeling of how every single interaction matters. And I've played like one of the boss modes or one of the mini boss modes for this game. I'm very, very compelled by the experience. Resident Evil is an absolutely easy back for me. This is, yeah, ridiculously easy back for me from Steamforged Games.
I lost track of how many games you actually did back.
Yeah, you're just counting whether you're right or wrong.
I know.
So you're going to have a hard time.
I know.
But the good news is we are 19 down, 6 left to go, and going into Senjutsu, Battle for Japan. Senjutsu Battle for Japan has a bunch of miniatures in this, basically this 1 to 4 player, it's a solo mode, you can go 2 player, 3, 4, whatever, that's 1 to 4 players. You're basically putting your miniatures down the map, and you're playing cards to try to move around and anticipate your opponent. So we both play cards at the same time, and then we activate them in the initiative order and whatnot, and then you can close the distance, you can spin around, you can attack, you can strike. You're trying to basically outthink your opponent as you navigate around this board over here to get what you want.
Who's it by?
Who's it by? It's by Stone Sword Games.
Don't think you backed it.
I did not back this one. I backed Senjutsu. I backed Senjutsu day one. I was very 17. Do you not bump it up? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. +1. +1. So I backed Senjutsu day one for the all-in pledge, at least the all-in pledge they had at the time.
You didn't back it.
I backed it day one, and then as the campaign developed, a lot of comparisons were being made to BattleCon, which is a game system that I like, but don't, practically speaking, end up keeping because of the way the games play out and because of the nuance of learning the characters. I find those game systems, if you don't know the characters, they feel a bit too random, and if you do know the characters, then you start introducing a skill gap where other players don't necessarily feel as able to dive into it. Now, I'm not sure if Senjutsu will follow that pattern, but like I said already a few times in this video, I look for the excuses. I look for the reasons to walk away, and that was my reason to walk away from Senjutsu, because the base pledge was pretty simple, pretty accessible. It came in at like $40, $50, something like that, but then once you added all the all-ins, and I do tend to like to go all in if I like a game, then it started to become more expensive. And so the combination of comparisons to BattleCon and the way those games have not, historically speaking, stayed in my collection, even though I enjoy them, combined with the price point of the all-in, made it one that I was looking for a reason to walk away from, and did walk away from. I still think it's one that I'm interested in. Maybe I'll pick it up one day, I don't know, but for right now, I passed on it. Next up, we have Skulls of Sedlec, the expansion collection and reprint. This is Skulls...
Ooh, I like this game.
Okay.
You backed this one.
Of course I backed it. Skulls of Sedlec. Skulls of Sedlec, expansion collection and reprint. Absolutely I backed it. There's not even a question. I love Skulls of Sedlec. Skulls of Sedlec is absolutely amazing. And this one basically introduced...
this game.
Yeah, this one introduced a whole bunch of new modules, different
so
ways.
cute.
So we have new things. We have the champions over here.
See that?
We have the zealots. We have the merchants, a whole bunch of new modules to be mindful of as you play Skulls of Sedlec. Enough so that they give you a full another button-shy wallet to keep all your expansion stuff for the game. Skulls of Sedlec is my favorite button-shy game, so backing this one was, yeah, no-brainer. Okay. No-brainer. That's Skulls of Sedlec. Next up, we have Small Railroad Empires plus mini expansion plus playmat. That's the name of everything. It's basically an expansion, playmat, and the original. It's a reprint campaign.
Do you own the original?
This, I do not own the original. This is from Arcona Games, who made Magnorama. You remember Magnorama? Exactly. Tiles, yes. Tiles, wonders. You have a little center tile. You're picking up tiles. You put down.
Played it.
We did play it. That's why I'm bringing it up to you. Same company. This is Arcona Games. They did Magnorama, and this is Small Railroad Empires. Totally different game. Nothing at all similar. Past sharing the company. This is elements of... Well, that was quick, as I'm not explaining the game. This is elements of pick up and deliver, and it's route building and set collection and all these, and I know I did not back it. I was compelled by it. The only well, let me rephrase. I was interested in the game, but also the only reason I was really paying that much attention was because it's Arcona Games. At the same time, like you've seen this video, I've backed way too many games, 15 out of 25. It's just an obscene number of games that I backed this past month, and so I didn't see enough that pulled me into Small Railroad Empires past just the general concept of being interested. So I skipped on this one. Which brings us to Steam Up.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
Excuse you?
I was wondering if this would happen.
Why?
Am I backing it?
Yes!
Okay. we are moving this to the end where I am backing Steam Up a Feast for Them Some. So I was
Why
wondering...
on earth not?
I wasn't as compelled by it as you.
I liked it. Ricky liked it. It
And
was a
I
game
wasn't
we were
as
happy
compelled.
to play.
Will you ask for it?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to ask for this. I will happily play Steam Up. I enjoy Steam Up.
Didn't he really like Steam Up?
I mean, I think she liked it. I don't know if she liked it. I don't know.
So ask her tomorrow morning, and if she says that she wants it, then you can back it.
And if she doesn't?
Then you don't have to back it.
I'm happy to back it if you want to play it. I'm not going to deprive you of a game you want. All I'm saying is, when this shows up, if you ask to play it, I will play it. If Ricky asks to play it, I will play it. I'm not pulling it off the shelf and saying, hey, you want to play it?
Ask Ricky if she wants it.
Ask Ricky. So Steam Up, A Feast for Them Some was delightfully cute. And it was enjoyable,
such a cute
as
game.
evidenced by this interaction. Like, I did like the game. I just didn't like it enough to request to play it. I enjoyed it without feeling like, oh my gosh, I have to play this game. And in general, when it comes to lighter games, they need to compel someone. Well, it comes to any game, honestly. Don't think to lighter games. Any game needs to be compelling someone in our group enough that it's asked to be played. So it either has to be Rena's asking it, I'm asking for it, Ricky's asking for it, someone in my game group's asking for it. Someone has to be asking for the game, or there's no point owning the game.
Such a cute game.
I can back it. You take your time. If at any point that late pledge button is gonna be there for quite some time. I'll ask Ricky, and if she doesn't want it, you still have plenty of time to overrule her.
Okay.
As long the only thing you have to do is just you have to say like that you'll actually like ask to play it. That's all.
It requires me to remember all the games you own.
Hence the problem. It's always a question of not just wanting to play a game, but wanting to play a game over other games. But yeah, really enjoyed the Feast Up. So really enjoyed
if we order
Steam.
this now, I won't get it for like what, another year and a half?
Exactly.
Oh.
Yes. Hey, this is what Kickstarter is. It's a constant lie to ourselves. Well, in a year and a half, we'll have more time. Our entire life up until now, we haven't, but in a year and a half, we will.
Your 2-year-old will be 3.
Yeah, that'll be easy. Listen, if at any point you want me to back it, I will hit that late pledge button. It's bright orange. It's easy to find. I will happily back this game as soon as someone says so.
Okay.
Yes.
You're on the first game on there, yeah.
Next up, we have, what is this? Too Many Bones, Unbreakable. Too Many Bones Unbreakable, which is the expansion standalone content to Too Many Bones, bringing you the Unbreakable game. It's standalone, it adds more content, it adds a standalone content, it adds a whole bunch of expansion characters, so more content, basically. I backed it, of course I backed it. It's Too Many Bones, I love Too Many Bones.
I know you do.
This was never a question. Honestly, I'm surprised you took that long to guess.
Well, you were talking, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Now I just feel bad. Too Many Bones Unbreakable, I absolutely backed it. It's more content for one of my favorite games of all time. So yeah, this was an easy back because I always take more content for some of my favorite games of all time. So almost always. There are some exceptions, but not many.
Okay, and what's the last one?
Last one we have is Wild Realms. Wild Realms. See, wait a bit now. It'd be really helpful if you had tracked which ones I backed and not, because then you'd know. If you backed 15, well, but now you can't do that. Wild Realms is a game of, well, wild animals. Raise your animal kingdom, grab your cards, and try to basically take control of the realms. Competitive game where 2 players race to rally animal allies, utilize unique skills, discover the 4 realms, and be the first to establish their kingdom of animals. And then has like these like.
I literally have no idea.
I hear you.
I'm gonna guess yes.
I did not back this one. Wild Realms, I didn't play it.
I'm totally fine because look, you got 5, I got 20.
Yes.
Pretty good odds.
So Wild Realms is one that it was compelling. The art looks amazing. The game looks very solid, but I hadn't played it and I didn't have enough to pull me in, considering I backed 15 other games. And so I tried not to back some. Which brings us to the fun part of the conversation, which is which 3 would I have backed if I could only back 3, and which one would I only...
Too Many Bones.
Okay.
Resident Evil.
Okay.
Can you
I'm trying to go through them, just going very slow. It's very slow. Okay, Too Many Bones, Resident Evil. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Remember this one?
Yeah.
I said which 3 would I back, not which 3 would you back.
Oh, fine, sorry, keep going.
I like Marvel Dice Stone. I am happy I backed it.
Did you back this one?
Monsterpocalypse, yeah.
Okay, so that one.
I literally told you I was on the fence about Monsterpocalypse. I don't know. Okay. So, the answer, I'm trying to remember. There we go. Okay. Here we go. I knew this one. I was trying to remember which one it was.
The Skulls of Sedlec.
You were right on 2 of them. It is Too Many Bones, and it is Resident Evil, and the third one is Skulls of Sedlec.
Nice.
Those were the 3 I would back. Now, if I only back one of those, which would I back?
Too Many Bones.
No.
Really?
No.
Skulls of Sedlec?
No.
The other one?
Resident Evil.
Okay.
And the reason being, practically, is Too Many Bones would actually be the lowest on that list, because as much as I love Too Many Bones, I have too much content as it is. So it's like, I really should not be choosing that one to begin with. But From there, Skulls of Sedlec and Resident Evil was a very, very hard toss-up. Even now... You know what? Forget it. Now I'm going to go with Skulls of Sedlec. If I can only back when I'm doing Skulls of Sedlec. And even now, that part... I'm changing on the fly.
Games under the table.
Oh, there's games? Oh, that's my cell pile. My cell pile under the table. Yeah, so Skulls of Sedlec is... And the reason I went back and forth is because... On the one hand, Skulls of Sedlec is an expansion, and Resident Evil is a full game unto itself. On the other hand, Skulls of Sedlec gets played so much. It's so accessible. So I think I actually changed my mind mid-recording here to change it to be Skulls of Sedlec being the only one I back if I can only back one, followed by Resident Evil, followed by Too Many Bones. Resident Evil really surprised me. Really, really solidly enjoyable game. I really like what it brings to the table in terms of the differences in gameplay. But yeah, I'll give Skulls of Sedlec the win for the accessibility and just the general all-in expansion collection. And then there's a whole bunch of others that I like and I want. There's Marvel Dice Lord, there's Monsterpocalypse, there's KTBG, Power Plants, there's Kinghill, there's a whole bunch of other games, but if I can only pick 3 and if I can only pick 1, hard choices have to be made. And that is what we backed. It's a very reasonable 12:30 at night, apparently. Wow, it's so late. It's so late. Dune took a long time to finish. I'm sorry.
I said you were like, let's watch Dune. I'm like, it's 2.5 hours.
Well, we were supposed to start at like 30 minutes earlier than we did, so it's not entirely. That's not my fault either. That's other people's fault. In any case, that is what we backed for November. Join us for December, where I probably will discover that December actually has more games than I thought, because sometimes I forget that launch dates are different than end dates, and games that launched in November that ended in December. There's probably more than I thought in terms of what I backed and didn't back. But we can find that out together next month when we go through what we backed and didn't back in December. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Boyd & Co.
I'm Rena.
And have a good one.